Good morning. Babel being an overachiever as per usual. Rotting Beach, welcome in. How are you doing this morning? Vante, welcome in. Rain, cozy vibes. Yeah, I'm using another one of the kind of fantasy flavored chill lo-fi vibes playlists. I found a channel that maybe I'll link it in the Discord. I found a channel who, one, they license the music, so it's not just stolen music, so that matters to me. But also, they don't use any AI. You know, a lot of these lo-fi chill videos will use either AI-generated music or AI-generated art, or both. This person does their own animations. They do. I'll just post a link. I really like their work, and I really appreciate that it's not AI. They're actually licensing the music, and that it's all hand-drawn illustrations. So I will put a link to that here in just a moment. I'll put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the Discord as well. And this time I will remember to ping the Discord. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to put the music that I'm listening to, the playlist, in Crispy Tunes. And I'll put it in the chat as well. Heaven, welcome in. How are you? Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm always down to share art when I find it, especially with the state of the world. People that are, you know, not delving into AI stuff. I have unfollowed so many people because they just suddenly they're AI simps, and I'm just I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm so sorry, but I'm not sorry actually. Yeah, I can't do it. All right, I'm going to ping the stream, and I will go ahead and I'll swap my screen so you can see the serial that I'm working on. Let's see, hopefully that's working, because I was being a little attitude this morning. There he is. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and put this to Discord. Let's see. Oh, I was going to get coffee this morning, but so I'm out of my normal. I have hot coffee and I have cold coffee. I have coffee beans that I can brew as hot coffee in my pour over, which is pretty standard. However, we are going into summer here, and I live somewhere where it gets extremely hot, and I do not tolerate heat well. I am built for cold. I am built for Pacific Northwest. It is not where I live. It is where I used to live. I miss it very much. But anyways. So I have my coffee beans that I will make hot coffee with. Totally fine on cool mornings. Today is not a cool morning. And then I usually have a bottle of just like a cold brew coffee in my fridge, and I'll have that if, you know, the morning's too warm. Well, I'm out of both. So I am coffeeless this morning, which sucks. But I don't want to order. Just, oh man, I'm just gonna have to get into it like a whole. I'm trying to save money because I might be moving. Might. I'll get into that. Let me. Let me. If you saw me talking in the Discord about how I'm hopefully getting touring this apartment this weekend, then there's an update there, and I'll tell you all about that in a moment. But let me go ahead and post this. Do tags matter on Blue Sky? I think they do. I always forget. I know that they basically don't matter anymore on, what's it called, Instagram? Cyril looking very handsome as usual. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like him. Alright. Let's see. Okay, I need to. Okay, there we go. I think tabs. My goodness. I think tags matter on Blue Sky. Cyril, what is the purpose of puffing your lips so much? It's funny, I did this piece a long time ago where Cyril was looking at Evangeline, who in the standalone has been renamed to Angelique instead, but same character. And I was drawing, it's basically Cyril facing her, and you can't see her face, you can only see Cyril's face. She's like looking up at him. And I have this habit of always drawing Cyril kind of with his lips like slightly pursed. And one of my friends saw this sketch, and I had cropped the like I took a screenshot, you know, of the work in progress, and I sent it to them. And they couldn't see from the screenshot that I sent. They could just see Cyril's face, so they couldn't even see like the top of Evangeline's head or anything like that. So they didn't know that there was any other character in the sketch that I was working on. They just saw Cyril. And my friend immediately said, "Oh, he must be looking at a woman because that's the only time he." Because that's the only time he purses his lips like that is if he's trying to flirt and he's looking at a woman. And I'm like, you don't need to drag my man like this. You're absolutely right, but also don't drag him like this. If you can hear my squeaky chair, I apologize, but hopefully this is getting replaced soon. Maybe. Once again, I am... So I thought that I was touring an apartment this weekend. They canceled on me Friday night at 5 o'clock, right before their office closes. And they said, just kidding, we're not, you can't tour it, bye. And then by the time, because I was still working, and by the time like the 6 minutes later that I picked up my phone, listened to the voicemail, their office had closed, so I couldn't say anything or respond to them. I think I know what happened. I think it was just a mistake on their part. But it's still very frustrating. So he's just expecting a kiss. Yes. He's just expecting a kiss. Well, he's not so subtly asking for one and or trying to bait one out of whoever he's looking at. This is the thing. Cyril is a huge flirt. I don't let him do a lot of that as the priest. This is obviously the pirate, so it's a little bit different. But Cyril is a huge flirt. Even if he's just doing it to like make someone else nervous or uncomfortable, he's always a huge flirt. The man is a slut, is what I'm saying. Anyways, okay, let me go ahead and I've got references that I have to pull up here. Because I think I've made the lapel of his uniform a little bit too small. I think it needs to be slightly bigger and slightly wider, but we'll see. You can tell in the original sketch I had it much larger and then I kind of sized it down, but I will be tweaking it. But yes, anyway, so wish me luck with the apartment. I will have to call them on Monday, kind of get that sorted out. I think what happened is that if any of you have like done an apartment hunting before, the agency that I was trying to work with, or am trying to work with, whatever. I am, that's the right one, that I'm trying to work with, both advertise on Zillow, which is just, if you don't have Zillow, it's one of many kind of like housing directories that you can look through. There's like housing, there's apartments.com, Zillow, Realtor, etc. You know, there's all these places where you can look for places to rent or buy if you're buying. But I had requested the tour through Zillow because that's an option that Zillow offers. And then I had separately emailed them and started their application process because their application is separate from Zillow. So what I think happened is that even though the email is the same and it's the same person, they saw two different things. They saw a Zillow application, well, not application, a Zillow request for a tour, and then my application. And they said, oh, nope, that's two different people, sorry. So an admin mistake on their part, I think is what it was. It is annoying because I had wanted to view it yesterday to kind of hopefully, I'm not going to sign a lease obviously until I tour the apartment. So everything's kind of on hold until I can actually physically tour it and kind of go through it. That might have to wait another full week, which is really annoying. I don't want to have to wait that long, but this agency works like 8 to 5, which are my work hours. So I would have to take time off work, which I really don't want to do, because I will need my PTO for actually moving if that happens. So I might need to wait an entire week to get to the next Saturday and then go view it. So it's a little bit annoying. It's not the end of the world. It's kind of frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is. I might ask them to move back the move-in date to try and make it a little easier, because currently I'm in a position of needing to pay rent for 2 spaces for 1 month, which suck. Doable. I just don't want to do that if I don't have to. I would rather save that money. But anyways, none of that is interesting. So let's go back to talking about a horrible man. And happy Mother's Day. Yes, happy Mother's Day to any mothers we have. My family did our Mother's Day celebration last night, so I went to see family and we had dinner, took my mom her gift, and all that sort of stuff. So I would pay money just to have him look in my direction. He'll give you like the biggest dressing down of your life just with how he looks at you. Truly a girl, those shoes with that dress kind of attitude. All right, I am definitely going to make the lapels bigger because I want to do... He's got a couple different versions of his uniform, and I'm going to do one that's a little bit more ornate. Not too much, but it does require a little extra space. So I'm also using... Hi, I'm lazy and a bad artist. I usually don't line things anymore. Mostly because I don't have time. I usually sketch things. If you've watched my art streams, you know this. But I'm actually lining this, so it's taking me a lot longer than art normally would. So it's something that I haven't really done in a long time. I've just been too busy, and again, like I said, I'm a lazy artist. I don't like putting a lot of effort into things. So I'm making myself actually line this, which is something I have not done in quite a long time. All right, where is your, there it is. Except I don't know which lines are the lapel, so I'm gonna have to go through each of my layers individually. There's one. New apartment hunting sounds hard. It's difficult. It's yeah, it's difficult. It's more difficult for me than it would be if I had a roommate or if I had a significant other who was going to be splitting the cost. I'm a single income household, and that's by choice. I do not want to have a roommate. I do not want to have a significant other. So it's a lot more expensive for me, and I'm also very picky. So I have certain things that I'm not willing to budge on, that if I was willing to budge on them, I would be able to find cheaper housing. But the whole point of living alone rather than with currently I'm renting a room in a house and I have 4 housemates. The whole point of living alone is being able to just be left alone rather than having to kind of wrestle with like having so many other people in the house. So, but you do pay for that, literally. Cyril would definitely spoil his mom if he possibly could. Absolutely. Cyril definitely would spoil her. Anything she wants. Okay, I think I've got this. I do have this in a couple different places. Okay, so this needs to come out. That might... Sure, we'll do that for now. Because this one's kind of hidden behind his arm anyway. So that one should be fine, but I do need to make this bigger. This one's too small. So I'll have to fix that line over at the end of his body, but that's alright. I have a hangnail on my thumb. Oh, it's really bothering me. But yeah, my family, last night when we got together, my mom is really, really big on table games. Like that's something that she just really likes doing. So we always kind of know, even when it's not Mother's Day, even just kind of whenever we get together as a family, my mom is like, "Does anyone want to play a game? We can play a card game. We can play a board game." And of course, you know, we're all gonna humor her and play whatever game she wants to play. So last night we played 2 different card games. One is just Uno, so I'm sure most of you have heard of Uno or played it. Specifically, we played aggressive Uno, which is not as intense as flip Uno, but it is still more intense than your default Uno. So we played that, but we also played Exploding Kittens, which is a game that I had not played before, so I had to learn how to play that card game. Has anyone played Exploding Kittens? I think to change that. It's one of my favorites, but everyone else hates it. I've never played myself, but I've watched people play on YouTube. It's one of my brothers has kittens in a blender card game. Yeah, so it was my first time playing it. My sister had played it before, and okay, I need to explain this. I need to explain this to you. All right, let me see. Hold on. So we were playing at my sister's kitchen table. So, oops. Let's say There's a terrible rectangle, but okay, that's my sister's kitchen table, all right? So in this chair, we have my sister's husband. And in this chair is my sister. In this chair is my dad, and this chair is my mom. Okay, so let me sister's husband, my sister, my dad, my mom. And then you can probably guess at this chair is me. And so if you're familiar with the game, you know that an element of the game is attacking other players or using what are they? You use two of a kind to draw cards out of someone else's hand. So I'm not talking so much about the attacks. I learned the game last night. Cut me some slack. So drawing cards out of other players' hands. So what happened? What happened was that in kind of one of the earlier rounds, my sister's husband was going to draw cards from her deck, or from her hand, excuse me. So he was going to draw from her. So she was looking at him and holding her cards up to him. And I was over here, and I could see her hand because she was holding it up, like fanned out to him. So I told him through like nodding my head and tilting my head to like right or left to jump over like one card or another until he got the diffuse card. So he was able to draw it out of her hand because I was behind her giving him instructions. And then later, I drew a card from my mom's hand. So she fanned her cards out to me, so she's looking at me. And my dad, behind her, can see her cards. And so, because I did it previously with my sister, he nodded his head to tell me to move over. You know, you have your hand over the hand of cards and you're picking one at random. So he signaled me how to get to the diffuse card and pull it out of her hand. And neither of them noticed. Neither of them noticed until my sister kind of figured it out like three rounds later. She was like, "Hey!" So that was hilarious. That was fun. So anyways, don't play cards with me. I'm a cheater. That's the moral of the story. Whoops. Let's see here. My lapels again. There we go. That might work. Like your dad. I always hold my cards so I can hide one, so when someone has to take one from mine, they never get the important ones. It only works until caught. So what I did, after my sister had realized that, well, there was no one sitting behind me because of where I was at the table, so no one could give her, like, symbols of, like, where my cards were. But what I did is I fanned out my cards for her when she was going to pick one, and she kind of caught on, but it still confused her, so it still worked. I pretended to be worried about her, like with my facial expression. I pretended to be worried about whatever card she was going to pick from my hand, so she couldn't tell which one was the diffuse card, which is the most valuable card and the one you want to steal. So she couldn't figure out, and she was like, "You're manipulating me." And so yeah, so instead of having a poker face, I just pretend to be concerned about whatever card she's gonna draw, so she can't figure out which one's the actually valuable card. I think that's probably fine. Where's your tit, Cyril? Where did I put it? There it is. Here, I think I was the only cheater at card games. I used to mark cards to try and win them from my dad. He never let me win. My dad always wins Uno. No matter what, he just always wins. I don't know why. I did do a couple of other illegal moves during exploding kids. Because again, if you've played the game, you know that there are certain cards that you can play that'll allow you to shuffle the deck or put cards back in, or take the top three cards and shuffle them, or look at them, and so on and so forth. But one of the things that you can do is you can peek at different cards in the deck. So if you're shuffling it, you can peek at what the bottom card is, because there's a card that allows you to draw from the bottom of the deck. So you can fix a deck by putting something down at the bottom, peeking it, and putting it back. There's still a chance that you might not be able to get it because someone else might play to shuffle it again or whatever between your turn. But turns, plural, between your turns. But yeah, lots of it's a game that encourages fixing the deck and peeking at cards. So I'm like, technically that's fine. But yeah, the other way is to, when dealing cards, you can deal from the bottom of the deck instead of dealing from the top. So if you are in charge of shuffling the deck and dealing the next hand, you put a bunch of good cards on the bottom of the deck, and then when you deal for yourself, you deal from the bottom instead of dealing from the top like you do for everybody else. So everybody else is getting random cards, but you're getting a preset hand. Uh, don't play cards with me, maybe. Or pay close attention, I guess. It's all in good fun. At most, I bet $1. My family has a Christmas card game where like everybody puts in like a single dollar, so like the big pot, quote unquote, is $10. But yeah, good fun. All right. What was I doing? I was fixing his lapel. Okay, so if I'm going to do this design has like a little thingy. I'm not sure what good. I don't think I'd be able to. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see it on that lapel, so it's only gonna be on this one. I didn't post on Instagram. I forgot again. Okay, fine. I will post. One moment. Welcome back. Playing DTI is hard on mobile. I don't know what that is. I don't think I know what that is. DTI. I don't play games. Alright. else here? I've been really bad about updating my Instagram, but at the same time, I don't like Instagram. I did post on Blue Sky, I think. I think I posted the link. Yes, I did. Okay. So this is up on Blue Sky. It's in the Discord. Let's see. I just need to post it. My silly little art account. Oh, a fashion type of game. Oh, fun. I think literally every, well, okay, not every, but almost every female friend that I have are all playing, God, what is it called? Nikki? Like dress up Nikki? It's like a dress up game. Um, a couple of them are trying to convince me to play. I'm like, first of all, I don't have time. Second of all, it looks very cute though. Okay, let me make sure that I still have... Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, right, that is posted. Okay, now I can go back to this. It's the first time in a long while that I am lining something, and I'm trying to do a style that is a little bit different from what I normally do. So I am not necessarily doing as much lining as I might otherwise do. I need to erase some of that, I think. Because what I'd like to practice on this piece is doing more... Oh, that's part of the sash, I think. Okay. Because what I'd like to practice more is, rather than relying on lines, I'd like to practice rendering on this. So more of the shape will come from the rendering and the lighting that I eventually hope to do. Because I'd like to practice that a little bit more. I've been doing sketches and kind of flat colors for a really long time, so I think I need to practice. Sash, where's the sash? There it is. Brontier, Angelique, and Nikki. I know! It'd be so cute! I think that the only thing... So, I don't play right now because I don't want to pay a monthly subscription fee. But I used to play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, not because I have a particular interest in the Final Fantasy franchise. I don't at all, really. But because it was a very fun little dress-up game for characters. So I did a lot of screenshots of Cyril and a lot of screenshots of Bronte, which is very fun. So, and I think that's kind of like the main reason I'm not interested in something like Nikki, because you can't like customize the character very much. You can customize the dress-up out, like the outfits, but you can't like change like the facial structure or, you know, that sort of stuff. So I'm picky about my dress-up games. I want to be able to make Bronte and Cyril. I used to play Nikki, but it's expensive. It's a gacha game, right? So I don't buy things whenever I'm playing gacha games. I'm always a free player. So I play Sword of Convalaria, which is technically a gacha game. but I play it completely for free, so I never spend anything on gacha games in general, just because I'm petty. I'm petty and bitter, and I don't like gacha monetization. I think it's predatory to the player base. I don't like it. I think it encourages gambling addiction, and I take umbrage with that. So I refuse to give gacha games my money. If it's just a normal free-to-play game and they have like cosmetics as a way of earning income for the devs, fine. That's fine. Or if they have a monthly subscription, fine. That's fine. But if you're using a gacha, I automatically don't like you. I automatically take umbrage with that, and I refuse to give them my money. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But yes, all that to say, I don't spend money in gacha games. If they're free, then I play them for free. And I will suck up their server space, and they will just have to deal with it. But yes. It's a valid reason. It is a valid reason. And I always encourage people to avoid those games if they know that they have a propensity for gambling addiction. Like don't even open that can of worms. It is not worth it. The pretty pixels are not worth it. I've talked a lot of friends back from like trying things like Genshin or so on and so forth. I'm like, if you have any like history in your family of addiction, of gambling addiction, etc., do not open. There is no reason to open that Pandora's box and invite that trouble into your life. Just don't do it. The pixels are not worth it. Anyways, yes, I do still need to come see your house in Final Fantasy XIV. Which I forget which data center that's on, because I know you've got both. You've got EU and you've got NA. If I go back to Final Fantasy XIV at any time, whether it's like a free login period or whatever, I'm probably going to move Cyril off of NA and put him in EU, probably. At the very least, I want to move him off of Balmung. Balmung's just... Balmung is just it's just something. It's just something. Okay, so it's in EU. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I've got a Cyril over there who can come visit either way, but I'm sure I'll send him over there. So see, the main thing with Cyril in Final Fantasy XIV, I have different Cyrils, right? Because in recent years, Final Fantasy XIV added this function where you can visit other data centers with your character. You can just basically enter a queue and kind of log in, log out, and you'll go visit other data centers. That didn't used to be the case, though. It used to be that you had to make an entirely new character and level them up and so on and so forth if you wanted to go play with friends on other data centers. So I have two Cyrils. One is more leveled than the other, and one specifically has a very, very, very annoying achievement item that is very annoying to get. It's a PvP achievement item. It's called the Field Commander's Coat. And I worked so hard for that coat. If I'm going to be playing him, I want to be able to wear my coat. So it has to be on that version of him. But anyways, I really need to be naming some of these layers. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm looking for the Apollos. There we go. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the noodles on this arm. You probably will. That is what I'm affectionately calling them, or unaffectionately calling them, because I hate drawing them. This should be a little bit lower, because you're probably seeing the curve of it, I think. I don't know. Something roughly like that. I think it needs to be closer. Yeah, you're gonna be able to see the noodles. Ugh, annoying. Okay, fine. I will draw them because I have to. You have Cyril in my FC. Yeah, yeah, I've got Cyril over there. But he's not the Cyril with the coat. That's the thing. That's the thing. Roblox isn't bad. You can make your own avatars. Can't do certain things that would match. Yeah, there's always limitations in games like that. I mean, I've got a little block Cyril in Minecraft. He's just a little guy. But yeah, pretty much in any game, I'll always try to make Cyril. If I can't make Cyril, then I'll usually try to make Bronte. And if I can't, if I'm not satisfied by any of the options for either of those two characters, then I will probably attempt to make someone else. Right now, for example, in Elden Ring, I have Cyril in Elden Ring. But my other character currently is Benjamin. And he looks very handsome, if I do say so myself. Very cute. It's kind of funny, considering it's Elden Ring. But it's fine. And of course I have Bronte and Cyril in Throne of Liberty. Which I am behind in and probably need to catch up a little bit, but I'm enjoying going through that game at kind of my own pace. Even though I am technically falling behind, I really don't care. I don't have the spare hours or inclination, really, to really kind of know life a MMO. Especially not when I'm trying to move and trying to write. I'm trying to... So you didn't hear this from me. It's a secret, so don't tell anybody. But my goal is for the standalone novel, I would like to have it go live in July. So that's my goal. The only thing really kind of slowing me down with it right now is just the fact that I'm trying to move. That is really kind of taking every spare bit of energy that I've got. On top of, you know, work, and there's a bunch of craziness there, and I may or may not get this promotion that I might need to apply for, but might not. I haven't gotten more information, so on and so forth. So, you know, aside from the stressors of life, that is my goal, is to have that published in July. Got to go get ready for tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. I hope you had a good time. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Time to get the coat for him? God, I'm not doing that again. I do not hate myself enough to farm Seal Rock a second time. You want to see noodles? I think even that just feels like it's too... Gosh. Cyril has broad shoulders, but they're not that broad. Alright, let's try moving it in a little bit more. I always do these drawings at just, like, the worst possible angles. It's always just the most difficult angle to work with. Why do I do this to myself? And before you get excited about the standalone babble, it comes with a big disclaimer. Please read the trigger warnings on the book, because it's not like Immolation. It's a very different beast. But speaking of Immolation, I'm working on the manuscript at the same time. I kind of hop back and forth between the two. I'm working on the manuscript for Volume 2 of Immolation, and It might be a little bit more, a little bit more violent than I was expecting. So read the trigger warnings on that too when that comes out. All right, it's noodle time. Let it begin. Oops. Right. I'll come back to that. Oh, honey, don't you worry. Sweet carrots and roses. The trigger warnings is the menu to enjoy. See, this is true. This is true. Star Echo 925. Hello, welcome in. How are you today? Um, I think. Fine, I'll do it this way. Has anyone from your family read your book? I don't believe so. No, I mean, my mom and dad bought a copy. It's in their bookshelf, and my mom has kind of flipped open to a random page and read a little bit of it. She was more curious because I kind of explained to her, because she was asking about, she's like, well, what is the process like? Mom is not someone who reads fiction in general. She doesn't have an interest in fantasy. She doesn't have an interest in fiction. She reads like nonfiction and memoirs. That's what she reads. So it's not something that she would be interested in reading. No one in my family really would be interested in reading a fantasy novel. That's not really any of their flavor. But my mom did buy a copy, and she was more looking at it kind of out of curiosity because I was explaining to her, as she had asked, what is the process like? Are you going to work with an editor? For Immolation, I did, and I will work with an editor. And so I was explaining to her what that process looks like, because she was kind of wondering, she's like, do they rewrite it for you? What does that look like? And I kind of explained to her, I'm like, well, the goal is, when working with an editor in the context that I'm working with mine, for them to be able to fine-tune things and correct, errors in terms of like grammar and punctuation and that sort of stuff on a level that I may not be able to. First of all, because it's my work, so whenever you're looking at something with your own eyes, it's harder to see the flaws in it because your brain will automatically correct those for you. So it's harder to find typos and things like that. But also, I don't have, a degree specifically in like English and grammar. That isn't my expertise. That's not what I studied. So I'm deferring to someone else who did study all of that. And the goal of the editor is to polish the text and to make sure that things flow without removing or compromising your own voice as an author. So that was something that my mom was curious about because she's read my writing in general before. I've been writing for years. I've written poems and short stories and all sorts of stuff that never was posted on the internet, but was shared with family and entered into competitions and stuff like that. So I've done plenty of writing. So she has kind of a good grasp of what my writing sounds like, what my voice sounds like when writing. And so more out of curiosity about the process of publishing a book more than anything, she just kind of flipped open a random page and read a couple of chapters, and said that she's like, this still sounds like you. So I can tell that it's been edited because it's been cleaned up, and there's all sorts of punctuation and sentence structure things that have been corrected and so on and so forth. She said, but it still sounds like you. So that was about as far as it went in terms of anyone from my family reading my book. Again, no one in my family really is much of a fantasy person. That they don't. It's just not their thing. So they wouldn't have. It's not like they're reading other fantasy books, not mine, because then I'd be mad. But no, they just aren't really fantasy readers. But my mom and dad, again, did buy a copy, which I appreciated very much. Alright. I think make these bigger because they need to be, well, yeah, I can make them bigger. If I make them bigger, it's gonna screw up my brush size. I don't like it. I'm gonna start over. Because these ones are technically closer to the camera because he's got that arm forward, so they're kind of falling forward over his arm. Okay, that's a bit better. I like that more. Noodles are gone. The noodles will return. I did not like those noodles enough, so I'm re-noodling him. I will need to go in and do the detailing on the noodles anyway, so there will be more noodle to come. That's sweet. Your mom must be really proud. I don't know if proud's quite the right word. I think she's happy that I am pursuing writing as a hobby because she knows it's something that I like. But proud's probably a stretch. My parents are like the very traditional, like, oh, you need to have a wife and kids and a car and a mortgage. Because I don't have that, they're like, eh. But I do think, they're happy for me because they know that writing is important to me. So I think they're happy to see me pursuing that. My dad, meanwhile, is like, tell me when you've sold like 12,000 books, then we'll talk. And I'm like, one day, maybe, if I'm very lucky. Oops. Y'all tried bulldog ramen? Um, I feel like I have. It's been a long time. I think a friend sent me like back in the day. This might have been back during college, but a friend sent me like a big package of like super spicy ramen that she wanted me to try, and I remember it being good, but that's that's about the extent of my memory. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this up. He has officially been noodled. Mostly. I still have to detail the noodles, but they're there. They exist. There we go. Cool. Okay. Guess I'll do the buttons and whatever the little strappy bits are called. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. The sound of rain is making me sleepy. It does that to me too. I usually sleep with what's that website called? Rainy Mood. I usually sleep with Rainy Mood playing somewhere in the background. That or a like fireplace soundtrack kind of going on background. Also very nice. I think I want that to be maybe something vaguely like that, because then it's gonna have like a kind of rope pattern on the outside, which I don't think I'm gonna do with lines. I think I'm gonna do that with rendering. But I might actually, I might do the whole button with rendering. So I'm gonna get rid of that, and then I guess we'll just do. Because it's all gonna be rendered instead, so. Well, I would normally line this. I'm just gonna do the outline. too spicy for some. I try not to add too much sauce since spicy food is good, but too much is bad. Yeah, everyone's got different spice tolerance, different heat tolerance. Don't mind me, I'm getting up and I'm pointing my fan away from me because it's blowing my paper everywhere, which I'm not drawing on paper, but I've got a notebook next to me. Let's see. I don't think I have a super high heat tolerance. Then again, I don't really eat much spicy food, which I'm sure you know. The more you eat it, the more tolerance you gain, but my dad and I are generally fine with spicy food, but my sister and my mom really, really don't like it. But I've had, you know, like generic spicy ramen, right? Like, you know, it's fine. It's not super crazy spicy, but it's good. I like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Those are like my go-to spicy snack. Like if I'm getting, you know, one of those like generic bagged spicy quote-unquote snacks, I'll usually go for Cheetos. Okay, I'm going to fiddle a little bit with this. Sure, he'll keep this design, but actually have this one go around too. Not sure if he's gonna keep that because I might want to do the classic because I've got a couple different designs of this. I've got one where there's like it actually loops over. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do there. This is the problem with having too many different designs. Just leave it with that. It's hard because this is a different process from what I'm used to, where I'm relying on future me to render in certain details, and I really just want to line everything, but I'm trying not to do that. Oh well, we'll see. Oh, he does need his rings. I need to put his rings on. And his earrings. Needs his earrings as well. Does he have his gloves on? Yes, he does. He wears his rings over his gloves. Well, these specific rings. He's got one on his thumb, his index finger, and his little finger on both hands. And they are worn over his gloves. I don't think I can get away with copying that. Oh, let's see. Actually, that might work. Yeah, sure, why not? Fascinating fashion choice. Yeah, it's something he's that's been part of his design for a really, really long time. It also means if he smacks you, it's gonna hurt more because he's got rings on. Which is not the reason he wears them, but it's a fun addition. How do you choose your characters' names? Do you research a lot beforehand? It really depends on the character. Bronte, for example, I researched a lot because her name and how she was named matters a lot more to her story. Cyril, actually, his name didn't come about from a bunch of research. I just kind of put together a name that I liked. um, and then, hilariously enough, the name's meanings actually ended up working out in his favor. Um, but yeah, it depends. So, for example, with the standalone novel, I'm going to be using different names for the characters. So I'm trying to keep them all relatively consistent with like a particular region where the standalone novel is taking place, which the standalone novel takes place in a fantasy world, but it is based off of a specific region. Um, Kind of like how in Immolation, the region that you're in largely is kind of influenced by Scotland. There's going to be other regions at play. So sometimes that plays a role in selecting characters' names. Sometimes it's just kind of happy coincidence. It really depends, because sometimes a character's name just comes to me and I'm like, yep, that sounds right. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And then sometimes I really argue with myself trying to figure out, oh gosh, what's a good name for this character? I can't think of anything. So it really depends, but generally speaking, I focus first on what feels right or sounds right, and then if their name ends up being something that is particularly important to the story, I will go in and I will do some more detailed research to make sure that it matches what I want. But Cyril's name, for example, just came about because I knew that I wanted a pirate captain with a last name that had 2 syllables. That was it. That's kind of what it started with, and then I just was like, okay, what's a good first name that would go with that? That's what it started with, at least. I don't remember if there was a character or like an actor, like, because I've had Cyril for such a long time. I don't remember there being any character or actor or anything named Cyril that made me decide that, yep, that's going to be his name. I think I was just kind of going through like a bunch of like random names and trying to find something that I wanted to put with his last name. And then lo and behold, like 13 years later, I'm still in love with this man. Yes, I looked up Cyril's name. It fits him like a glove for real. Yes, I was actually very pleasantly surprised, considering that I didn't really research it. I was purely going for vibes. I was like, I want particular vibes, and this name seems to fit those vibes, so I'm keeping it. And then kind of finding out later that the name kind of fit him perfectly. I was like, oh, that's great. I love that. All right, I was gonna fix something with his rings. Hold on. Because I'm not sure I love the shape of this. Once again, I pick the most complicated and annoying angles to work with for some reason. Yeah, okay, that looks better. To be fair, when we're young as teenagers, when it comes to picking names for characters, we don't do a lot of research. We just swing it. Yeah, like when I made Cyril, I was really young, so I was like, yeah, it's just the vibes. It's pure vibes. I didn't expect when I made him that he would stick around as long as he has and become so precious to me, despite the fact that he's a horrible person. So I was just picking something that had some fun vibes at the time. Let's see, do I want to line the trim of his uniform? I think I should. Yeah, I think that's gonna make the most sense. All right. Oh man, my lack of coffee is really hitting me. I'm sorry if you can hear me yawning. I'm trying to save money because I'm expecting moving is going to be really expensive if I can make it happen. If this little apartment that I'm going to look at hopefully works out. And I really hope it does because I've been in limbo for so long. I'm ready to get out of it. I'm scared to look up Bronte's name though, whether it's a spoiler. Let me think on that. You know, I don't think I could just end the sentence there. I don't think. No, I don't think that if you look up the meaning to Bronte's name, that it will be a particular spoiler. You're going to get a little bit more information on her name and kind of hints as to why she might have it in Volume 2. But that in and of itself is not going to be a spoiler, I would say, if you look up what her name means. That's not gonna work. Fine, fine, fine. I will do it by hand. Okay, let's see here. Because this kind of folds outward. So basically. Make a folder here for the detailing. Because I might need to bring this little bit here where his uniform comes in and fastens. I guess it's not really buttons, but fastens. That might need to be... I might need to work on that one. Might need to reposition that, but I will worry about that later. It's a future me problem. This one gets a little bit weird because he's... because it's laying flat up there and it kind of curls away from the viewer. Not curl, it's not like a hard curl, but... Interesting. I need to have that lining up, so that's gonna have to get changed. Because it should be more like that. Okay, fine, I'll make that change. I hope Cyril appreciates everything I do for him. I know he doesn't, but he should. Basically, I would repeat that and do the second layer. I wonder if I can just cheat. I don't think it's gonna work. Sure. Because that's gonna get really sloped. I might have to tweak the design. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, the little triangle's gonna have to get fixed either way. Avid, welcome back. Thunder, oh gosh, she's gonna start roaring. You'll just have to wait and see. Heaven, I thought you had to rest or prepare for tomorrow. I'm so sorry, I forget what time it is for you, because I know we've got people kind of all over the world. It's just a cheeky 12:30 in the afternoon for me, so, but I know it's evening and quite late for several of you. this part is gonna get really, really weird. Because there really isn't a nice way to show that from this angle, and I don't really want to have to redesign the outfit just so... I mean, I could. It's not going to be the end of the world, but... I would just prefer not to. Got everything ready, it's 2034. Gotcha. Well, glad you got all your prep done. Why do people on Urban Dictionary either confess their feelings to some Brontes or call them horrible people? Yeah, in my experience, that's typically how it goes. It's accurate to the lore. People are either obsessed with Brontes or hate them. So that's gonna be like the second time that a name has... This is the second time a name has worked out to being oddly perfect for the character. There's really no way to make that look particularly nice, but that's okay. I will fiddle with that a little bit more, because technically, and this is something that I'd more achieve through rendering than lines if I'm going to be staying consistent with my goal, because basically this part of his lapel kind of rolls over, which you can kind of tell from the way that it folds in here. So it's fastened down there, and then this lapel like rolls out, folds out kind of. So there is kind of this element of the fabric kind of moves like this, kind of out from his neck. So on this side, it would be moving kind of like this. So that means that the thicker part of the fabric is right here, so it'll be folding over, and then it flattens kind of as it slopes out to rest on his shoulder slash neck, kind of like the base of his neck and where his shoulders be in. So that means that over here it gets a little bit tight in terms of lining it, but it's just because it's a kind of an awkward... once again, the awkward angles that I insist on drawing things at make it very difficult. But that's alright. I'll get it sorted. This is one version of his uniform where, for example... Let's see here. I'll grab a different brush. Whoops. Okay, sure. So, in some versions, he only basically has one line of gold trim kind of going around. Just one line, but in this particular design that I'm using as a reference, he's got two kind of lines of gold trim. And then that gold comes down here. And there's more over here that kind of lines up with the buttons. This brush does not have the sensitivity settings worked out. I'm using a different brush, so pardon the squiggliness. So basically that's the design that I'm working with, where he'll have, basically, instead of just having one piece of trim that's gold, he'll have two. But I do have a different design of this uniform where, oh my goodness, this brush is so weird. Okay. I do have a different version where, let's see, yes, it'll be up here. This is his left arm, so it does not have the band. Okay, yeah, so you can't see the band. Because he's got one of those little captain arm bands, but it's on that arm over there, so you can't see it. And then there's the seam on the inside, which you can't see it on over here. Connect under there, and then we've got his sash, which I'll probably do the black slash? Nope, that's not the right word. I'll do the black sash. Oh my goodness. So it'll look like that. If I do it that way, I guess you would be able to... You can't see me, but I'm trying to cross my arms in the same way that you would to figure out where the seams are going to be. And yeah, I guess you would be able to see that. So you'll be able to see the seam there. Obviously, the buttons, and they've got like all their schmuckery going on. And you won't be able to see the seams for either side of his chest, but you would be able to see the seam going. Yeah, I guess you would be able to see, well, so it would come down over here. Yeah, so you're at least going to see that one. The other one's covered up by this, yeah, no, it connects here. Dear Angel does not deserve this. It's true. Bronte does not deserve the suffering that she gets. Is Cyril the kind of person to give hugs? Cyril gives wonderful hugs. You just might not get away after. But no, he gives wonderful hugs. He's very good at giving hugs. He's such a fancy captain. He is. He's got so much money, he doesn't know what to do with himself. Okay, so then... You're not going to be able to see, I don't think, because there's a seam up here too that's also gold, but I don't think you're going to be able to see that because of the angle his shoulders are at, so I don't know if I'll include it. And then obviously the noodles are all, these are all gold. So the epaulets and the accompanying noodles are gold. I don't think you'll be able to see the jewelry for his tie. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see that. You can't really, like I said, you can't see it, but like obviously you've got his tie here. So he's got his tie. The tie knot would be like up here. And he's wearing a shirt. That tie should be like much further up. Hold on. So he's got a shirt. The tie would be knotted up here, and then normally what he would have, which I don't think if you're gonna be able to see it, you're only gonna be able to see a teeny tiny bit, because there's basically, he's got studs here, and then like a little chain that goes underneath the tie. This is jewelry there, so maybe we'll see that stud on his right or left, but I doubt it. I don't think I'm gonna bother including it. Oh, and then obviously his rings are gold, and then he needs his earrings, which I will add later. Also, technically his eyeball is gold. There's lots to add. Lots to add. Okay. What do you mean you might not get away after he hugs you to death? You can see that. Cyril hugs and whispers sweet nothing, and then pop, your neck snaps. So you just might wake up in a room after Cyril hugs you. But I mean, he gives good hugs. You know, it's you've got, a solid 10-15% chance of getting let go after, but he might just decide that he's like, yeah, no, I'll keep you. That's the sort of person he is. This is a man who carries chloroform on his person. He's always got it in his pocket just in case. So beware giving hugs. That could quickly turn into being smothered. What was I gonna add? His earrings. Right. Okay, so let me add his earrings. Where are your lines? Hold on. I adore Cyril so much. He's very chaotic in his own special, terrible way. I'll leave it for a second. I'll come back to it. have another extremely valuable question. I love your questions, Monte. Please never stop. How do you decide a character's eye color? Why is it mahogany and not just brown? So with colors in general, I am very picky. So there's a reason why I've had people say things like, "Oh, Cyril's hair is green." And I'm like, "No, it's teal." I'm very particular about colors. Maybe because I'm partially colorblind. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. If I say brown eyes, I'm kind of sitting there like, okay, like chocolate brown, sandy brown, mahogany, like what kind of color? Because they're all brown, but they're also different. Like Bronte has chocolate, like warm chocolate brown eyes, versus mahogany, which has more red and is almost like a purple. It's much deeper. So yeah, I don't know. I really like kind of all those little differences, and I try to pick words that reflect those. No, it's teal. Yeah, I get really particular about about colors. The amount of people who are just like, oh yeah, Cyril's that weird guy with like green hair. I'm like, don't you ever speak to me or my son ever again. But yeah, when it comes to picking eye colors, so there's different, because my characters have both unnatural, well, in general, obviously some characters have what we would consider to be natural eye colors. Like Bronte, for example, she has brown eyes and black hair. We would consider that to be a pretty natural color palette. Like that's something that you can encounter in the real world. Cyril has teal hair and gold eyes. That's not a natural color palette. You're not going to find that in the real world unless it's obviously they're using something like contacts and dye and so on. But that's natural in the fantasy world that I've created. So that has to do with where characters are from. So certain regions, certain ethnicities, etc., get certain color palettes associated with them, and then I try to keep those characters kind of locked in, for lack of a better phrase, into that color palette. So Cyril having this dark brown skin and gold eyes and teal hair, that's something that's very common among his people, like their color palette. That's a pretty common color. So Mara is a little bit more red toned, but she still follows that same kind of general principle. So she's a little bit more red toned, so instead of like really like bright gold eyes like what Cyril has, she has more of like a rose gold color because she just leans more red. Her hair leans a little bit more blue because it's got some of that red in it rather than that green that Cyril has that kind of turns it teal. If you're wondering, yes, Cyril gets like the greens. He gets that from his father, who, well, not his father. The man didn't raise him, but technically his father. He gets that from his side, which he leans a lot more green. So he's got much more of an olive tone to his skin. He's got a lot more green and brown in his hair, and he's got kind of like darker brownish gold kind of eyes, which is not how I would word it if I was describing it in the book. No one's ever going to be described as brownish eyes, but you get the idea. I'm very particular about colors because they tend to be associated with where that character is from and what ethnicity they are and so on. How would you describe your own appearance? Oh boy. Well, if I had seen the sun more, if I see the sun, I tend to darken pretty deep. But I am an office employee who stays indoors most of the time. Plus, we're going into summer. But at the moment, I'm pretty fair-skinned, I would say. So not fair-skinned like pink, the way that I would kind of describe Benjamin, for example. I would say I have, brown skin, but not dark. I have hazel eyes and I have brown hair. My hair would lean probably more sandy blonde. It's got a lot of blonde in it, but it is technically quote unquote considered brown. But for example, if you look at my sister next to me, she has much more olive in her skin. I do not have that much, and her hair is brown. Both my sister and I, our hair is quote unquote brown, but she has like very dark, rich brown hair, and I have more of like a sandy, blonde, dirty blonde brown hair. So you can kind of picture from there. My sister also has very like gold brown eyes, and mine are much more like hazel brown. So when her eyes catch the light, you see like kind of gold, warm colors in them, and when mine catch the light, you see more of like a mossy green kind of color. Vaguely speaking. Have you ever drawn Cyril's dad? Have you thought about his color palette? I know I have some sketches of him floating around. His design is not super finalized in that Cyril wears his hair long, which, depending on which verse you're talking about, so like let's say we're talking about the priest versus the pirate. Obviously the pirate wears his hair long because he likes wearing it long. The priest wears it long because he took a vow that requires not cutting his hair. What that vow is, you'll find out eventually, but for now, he took an additional vow in addition to being a priest and all those other things. He took an additional vow that is symbolized by not cutting his hair. So his hair, he needs to allow his hair to grow. I mean, he still buzzes and like trims the side of it, but the rest of it is left to grow long. Otherwise, he probably would have been wearing his hair short. The men in Cyril's ethnicity, I guess for lack of a better word, and their culture, they don't have like a preference for like whether they wear their hair long or whether they wear their hair short. It's really just down to personal preference. Like there isn't any kind of like cultural expectation. Like I think a lot of times you might expect that like men, like modern day men, will typically wear their hair short. There isn't any expectation like that. It's really just personal preference. But his dad tends to have his hair relatively short. If it's growing out long, it's because he doesn't have the opportunity to cut it, or he just is like being scrappy and doesn't care. Same thing with facial hair. It's really just personal preference. It's not like considered more masculine to have a lot of facial hair or anything like that. It's just really personal preference. I think I missed what you said your hair length was. So my hair, well, at the moment, allow me to demonstrate with art. So I basically have the same haircut as Cyril. The only difference is that my buzz up here goes all the way around my head rather than just the sides. So, and my hair I would say is about as long as Cyril's. Oh my gosh, my side froze, come on. My hair is about as long as Cyril's, and that, I have it tied up right now, hold on. Ugh. If I take it out and let it fall down, it's probably, yeah, the longest part is basically about to, yeah, like a little bit above my hips. I have it up right now, but at the same time, I'm also this is me. Hello. This is the worst thing. Why is my arm doing that? Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the worst hand I've ever... Okay, whatever. I'm not dealing with it. So this is me. Hello. So I have long hair, right? So like up here at the top of it, all this area, that's all long. And then the sides are short. Except right now I am growing out my buzz cut. So the hair on top that's been left long for a long time basically goes like all the way down to, again, like kind of like right above my hips. But the stuff on the side, because I've been letting it grow out, is about down to, hold on, I just tied it back up out of habit. It is about down to, wow, it's past my jaw actually, I didn't realize that. I've been growing it out for a long time. It is down to about my neck, so Wow, I didn't include a neck in this sketch, but whatever. So anyways, I look like Albert Einstein is what I'm trying to say right now. I've got one portion of hair that's really long, and the rest is about down to like my neck right now because I'm trying to grow all of it out. But normally it is shaved. We'll see if I can power through the summer, because what I'm trying to do, what I typically do, is I will grow out all of my hair, and I will then cut it off and donate it because my hair grows really fast and my hair is quite thick. So I will cut it off and I'll donate it. I donate to Wigs for Kids, and every other year, every 2 years, every other year, I will have it cut off and donated. And when I do that, I usually will kind of bring it all the way up to being short hair. So like maybe it'll be buzzed on the sides and at the back, and then the top little floofy portion on top will be, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 inches long, give or take, and then I'll grow it out again. This is my third time growing it all out, and kind of part way through, basically what happened is that I was going to the office for my job that I currently work. And if I'm going to the office, I do need to be maintaining the buzz cut. I can't be going in there looking like Albert Einstein. That's not professional. I need to be clean. I need to be clean shaven for that. Well, not completely shaven, but buzz cut at least. But then they were saying, "Hey, just kidding. Congratulations, you're remote." So I was like, "Oh, all right. Well, I guess if I don't need to buzz it anymore, then I'll stop buzzing it and I'll let it grow out again." So that's that's what happens. I demand to see those sketches, please and thank you. I will see if I can find them, and maybe I will post them in the Discord. I don't know if they're colored though, so you won't really get to see his color palette. A little bit above your hips, yeah. It's several feet long by now. My hair grows very fast and is quite thick. Both my sister and I inherited that from our dad. My dad has very thick hair. But yeah, so currently growing it out. I will try to power through the summer. We'll see if it works. If I end up getting too hot, I will usually just give in and buzz the sides again, and I'll leave the top to grow out. Because even if I don't let all of it grow, the long part on like the top of my head will still grow, and that can still be cut off and donated, after a couple of years. But we'll see. I'm trying to grow all of it out partially because there's more hair that way, but also because it's expensive. And I don't like having to pay somebody $25 to buzz my hair. And I can do it myself, but it's a hassle and it's messy, and my hair, because again, my hair grows so fast, I basically end up having to buzz it probably every week, every other 2 weeks at minimum, but like every week would be ideal, and it's such a hassle that I don't feel like doing it lately. But we'll see. That is normally how I wear my hair though. I do like being buzzed. I like how that feels better. My hair is, again, it's very thick, so it ends up feeling pretty heavy. But oh well. That is more detail about my hair than you probably wanted to know. Work dress code must be bald. But yeah. So I've got a similar haircut to Cyril, but not exactly. He's got the back of his head is all long as well. Okay, so I gave you your earrings, sir. And I gave you your rings. I don't think you're going to be able to see that pin for your tie. So I guess it is really just adding in the trim now. That, or we can render, well, not render, but sketch in a little bit more detail on the noodles. Maybe I'll do that. I might, dare I say, want to use a larger brush for this. I'm not sure. It'll look different when it's all rendered together, but for now, I'm just trying to get a little bit of the impression that, again, because he's lifting up his arm to have his hand to his chin like that, these are all technically kind of lifting up with his arm. Which, it's like I'm saying that like his arm. Anyways, so because of that, you're kind of actually seeing the bottom of the little tassels, of the noodles, if you will. So, kind of want to emphasize that you're seeing the bottom of them to give them a little bit more depth. Working remote is great. I'm afraid if I start, I'll also become Rapunzel. Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I really love working from home. It's definitely, especially because with where I live, gasoline is extremely expensive. So not having to regularly fill up my car, not having to deal with wear and tear on my vehicle, that alone makes it really, really worthwhile. And that's before even kind of getting into just like the benefits of, having a more comfortable work environment. You don't have to deal with, I've been to the office, like I've in previous jobs and in this job that I currently work. I've been into the office and it's loud, it's crowded, it's difficult to, particularly the work that I do a lot of listening where I have to be able to catch little mistakes and things that people are saying that are not accurate. So it's a lot of listening that requires my full attention, and it's very difficult to do that in a crowded office. So it is kind of frustrating to work there. So I am glad, for my part, that they said, yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You're fully remote. You can go wherever. So I'm allowed to work from anywhere in the U.S., which is nice. I don't think I will be leaving my state because my family is all here. But again, I really do love Pacific Northwest. So if I ever get the chance to go back up there, I definitely will. Which is kind of part of why I'm leaning towards renting now. Because for a while I was looking at buying something. And a combination of not really being sure if I'm going to stay here long term, or if we'll go Pacific Northwest if I can, and just expenses and so on and so forth kind of made me go, okay, let's stick with renting for now. Hopefully we can find a nice place. I mean, just me. I don't even have any cats or dogs, it's just me. It's just me and Cyril. Noodles now remind me of fries. I mean, they are golden brown. They're golden and just and just like Cyril, they're bad. They're bad for you. And those will get more rendering later, but it helps. Yeah, it's just me and my dolls. Instead of pets or children, I have resin. I have my precious resin children. Cyril's actually, well, one of my Cyrils, because I have two. One of my Cyrils is on my desk as my constant companion. The other one is back across the room on the other table that I have on display with a couple of the other ones. I love both of my Cyrils equally, but one of them gets to stay on my desk. I'm kidding. They take turns. Sometimes. And Bronte also gets to be by my desk. She's not on my desk. She's on the table directly next to my desk. but she does get a coveted position on my desk. Show the Cyril dolls? Okay, let me see, because I recently got a new phone, so I can actually take half-decent pictures. Let me see if I've got any, and I can put them in the Discord. Let's see here. Because I've got one for the priest, and I've got one for the pirate. Though I will say the one thing that both of them are missing is they don't have eye patches, because I have not been able to find someone who can custom make me an eye patch for him. But that's okay. Let's see. Okay, here. I found a picture that I have of the pirate. Let me go ahead and put this one in the Discord. I will put this. What's a good channel for this? I think we have a hobby channel. Yes, I will put him in hobbies. Let's see here. I'll try to. There we go. My goodness, he's stunning. Thank you. I'm so happy with him. I'll do it. I'll make them eye patches. I will happily pay you for your service. Here, I will put him in the I'll try. Let me see. Hold on. I'll put him up on stream too so you guys can see. There we go. So that is Pirate Cyril. I'm so glad you like him. Thank you. All right, let me see if I've got a photo of the Priest Cyril, because he looks different. He's got a different face shape. Actually, I'm gonna send one more picture of the pirate because I actually really like this picture of him. I love him so much. The artist who painted his faces for me did just such a phenomenal job, and she was such a joy to work with. So I'm just so happy with how he came out. Okay, let me find a picture of the priest, because the priest has a different face structure, like I said. Because I wanted the priest to look older. Because he is supposed to be older. They're two different versions of him. Let's see. I don't have one where he's got his little. Wait, oh no, they're on my previous phone. Ah, dang it. Okay, let me see. I have a photo of him that I really like. Let me see if I can get it. Because he doesn't have his little. I guess it's a tie pin. I guess is what it would be. Because basically, because I thought I was moving, I had packed up all my stuff, and then I wasn't moving, so I unpacked some of it, and then I was moving again, so I packed it, blah, 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 blah. So because of that, I don't have all of my doll accessories where they should be. So at the moment, he isn't really wearing his cross correctly. So I want to see if I can get this picture of his priest doll that I know is wearing his cross correctly, because it's a little detail that makes me happy. So let me see if I can find that picture. I think I posted it on Instagram, my other Instagram. So let me find that, because it's a really nice picture. I just think he looks really nice. He's gorgeous. I always enjoy seeing your dolls. Thank you. I'm really happy you like him. I know dolls aren't for everybody, but they bring me much joy, so I enjoy getting a chance to share them. Alright, let's see. Give me this picture. There we go. Okay, this is a pretty old picture. I was taken on my previous camera, but that's alright. That's the priest version of him. I think I have one that's a little bit closer, a little bit more zoomed in on his face. Let me find that one too. Oh, whoops. Went back to the wrong Instagram account. Okay, let's see. There it is. There's that picture. Okay, let me get this one to the Discord as well. Again, previous camera, so the quality isn't as good, but I really like, I like him very much. We love Cyril despite all of his horribleness, and I'm so happy you do. He brings me joy, and I'm happy he can bring other people joy. I want to steal him. My favorite picture. I love that picture. That's the icon, I believe, for my doll Instagram account. Yeah, it is. I love that picture so much. But yes, thank you for letting me gush about Cyril dolls, because I love both of them so much. And I'm really pleased that I was able to get him put together. He was actually, the dolls that he's compiled of, like the parts that I got to make him, are actually being discontinued. So I'm really happy that I got him when I did, because both of them are just such gorgeous dolls. And they get to be my horrible little man, and I just love that so much. And I have to wrangle him like a toddler to get him dressed. But yes. You have a doll Instagram, may I follow it? Yeah, absolutely. It's not anything fancy. You should be able to find it pretty easily because it's the same username. It's just, so it's Diastrefo, so same as my art account, and it's just _dolls. So I'll put a link to that in the, I'll put a link to it in the Discord. I'll put it in the hobbies chat. But yes, you can see more of the dolls over there. Oh, I forgot to share the most important picture. Hold on, I forgot to share the most important picture that I've ever taken. Because I don't have her finished yet. However, I do have a doll for Mara. So I have Cyril and Mara together. Here, I'll put that one on stream too. I love them so much. Mara is tricky because I had her head custom made and custom painted. That's a really poor picture of it. I'm gonna have to try and get better photos from the actual artist that painted her for me. They were very accommodating because I asked them, like, hey, would you be able to do, you know, this custom makeup to age her up a little bit? And they said yes, which I was very happy for. But then they immediately discontinued the resin color she was made in. So now I don't have a matching body for her, which is really frustrating. So I'll have to try to find something and probably get it custom colored or custom dyed. That's another option. Dyeing isn't as great as having it cast in resin because there's blotchiness that can occur. But she does have a wonderful, wonderful gown that she's wearing in that picture, and she's just borrowing a different character's body, and then I've just edited the hands so that they aren't, you know, super glaringly obviously a different color. But yes, I am very, very fond of her, and I hope to get her a body eventually. Look so sweet together. They do. They look so cute together. I love them so much. And as you can imagine, I take lots of pictures of Cyril and Bronte together too. Let me see if I've got one. I swear I'm gonna try to find like this one picture that I took of the two of them together, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna go back to drawing. I promise. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember if I took it on this phone or my last phone. Because I do have Bronte as well, which I'm sure you guys, I feel like you guys have probably seen Bronte. I'll put her in the chat as well though. I'll put her in there. Fine, Discord, don't send my picture. Okay. Alright, so there's Bronte, and let me see if I can get... And the artist who painted Bronte is the same artist who painted Cyril, which just, first of all, makes me happy. But also, excuse me, I had to request a service that's usually called blushing or resin matching, which is a lot of extra work on the part of the artist, and it's actually a service that the artist does not offer. She doesn't do it on any dolls. And I said, hey, I know that you don't normally do this, but would you be interested in at least like considering it? And you can tell me yes or no. And she said, okay, sure, fine, let me take a look. And so I sent her, you know, some references of Bronte, and I explained to her what she would need, because basically Bronte's head and her body didn't match. So her head needed to be matched to the body in order for her to match. And she said, you know what, I love her so much, just send her over and I'll work on her. So I was like, thank you so much. So I'm still very, very pleased about that. Because it was super, super kind of her and super accommodating to do something that she doesn't normally offer as a service. So I was very, very, very grateful that she was willing to do that for Bronte. Baby. Musters is stealing all your dolls. You know what? You know what I have dreams of? And I don't think this is ever going to happen because I don't have a large following. They look so sweet together. Don't ask me how I'm doing. I don't think that this would ever happen because I don't have a large following, but I have like vague dreams of if I ever went to a convention to like sell books or sell art, I would have like a display where I would have like Bronte and Cyril. They would get to sit together on the table and people could come say hi and take pictures. I just think it'd be so cute. Let me see if I can find that picture. It must have been on my previous phone. My previous phone's dead, so let me see if I can find the picture I took of Bronte and Cyril together. I still love that artist so much. She did a wonderful job. She did. It's just, her work in general is just fabulous. It's absolutely gorgeous work. And the fact that she was willing to go to all that extra effort for Bronte just makes me so happy. I'm trying to find the one of Bronte and Cyril together because I think I sent it to a friend, so I'm trying to look through my chat with my friend and see if I can find it. Because I'm pretty sure the picture that I took, I had them hold hands. And it's very cute. Cyril is... I think with the two of their dolls, I think that he's pretty accurate for how much taller he is than her. He might be a little bit taller, but I think overall it's relatively accurate. Which makes me very, very happy. Because one of the things that is kind of frustrating with dolls is that it's very hard to make all of their sizes consistent across like the entire collection, right? So I have dolls that I really like the sculpt of the face, is typically what they're called, the head sculpt, where I think that the actual face structure really, really suits a character, but they're only available in a size that means they won't look at the correct scale like next to other characters. Like I have a doll for Philip, and he's got this big old noggin. So even though he's supposed to be younger and he's supposed to be shorter than Cyril, he's probably, not too much shorter than Cyril because he's still an elf. But, he is supposed to be shorter than Cyril because he's younger. He's so much younger. But because of the way that he's sized, I can't put him on anything shorter than like a 72 centimeter body, which... If you're not familiar with those measurements, that's basically the size Cyril is. So basically, my doll of Philip is about as tall as Cyril, and the proportions don't match, so... Just some of the concessions we have to make for dolls. And wow, I sent a lot of pictures to this friend, so I'm having a hard time finding it, but I'm determined. Because I don't think I posted it on my Instagram. Or if I did, I posted it in a story, so it's not still there. Well, maybe I can find it in my archive. Okay, I will try my archive. Because it's really cute, and I want to show everybody. Alright, let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, wow, that's definitely a picture I took on my previous camera because it's really blurry. But that's okay. I'm going to how do I get that off of my story? Let's see. It's very blurry because first of all, it's a picture from my previous phone, but also the picture is so small, so it almost doesn't matter, but it's literally just going to be a screenshot from Instagram. But just so you can kind of see how tall they are next to each other. I'll put this... It's just, again, just a really blurry screenshot from Instagram. But you can see how much taller he is than her, and I find that very cute. Because that's about the height that she should be in comparison to him. He's probably a little bit taller, but it's close enough for dolls, and it makes me happy. If you could pick who I cosplayed of your characters, who would you want me to cosplay? Oh boy, that's a hard choice. I mean, Bronte would be so fun. But also, I've had people before who have cosplayed Cyril. And, like, if you do, what's the term? Like a gender bend of Cyril, I will not be mad. You can cosplay whoever your heart desires. Lore accurate, I know. They're so cute. I love them so much. Hold on, my back itches. I need something that can scratch my back. It's because I put my hair down. Now it's itching. There's a wild hair that fell down my shirt. Ugh. Okay. How's the writing going? I hope you're taking care of yourself. Ting, welcome in. It's so good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I am... Oh boy, I'm in the middle of trying to move house, and it's just been a nightmare. I was hoping that the nightmare would have ended this weekend, but then I got a wrench thrown into my plans, so I'm back in limbo, which is really annoying. But other than that, writing's going well. I'm working on both Volume 2 for Immolation and the standalone. I was telling chat earlier that the standalone, my goal is to have it released in July. So I'll put a formal announcement out later. But basically, yeah, the only thing that's kind of getting in my way right now is just dealing with all of my housing shenanigans, trying to move and then having plans fall through. So it's really annoying, but it is what it is. Work's crazy, housing, the general state of the world. But yeah, other than that, carrying on. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. I could be bad. I could be bad and just start blocking in colors. Ooh, I might do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Because I don't want a line anymore. I'm just gonna start blocking in colors. Alright, let's see here. He'll probably just get one big block to block out his silhouette, and then I will go in and cut out each piece. Because he's going to have like his coat that he's wearing, he's going to have his shirt, he's going to have his face, and then he's going to have his hair. That's usually how I break these things out. Oh, take care of yourself. Thank you. I will do my best. It's definitely frustrating because I just want to create. But life keeps kind of getting in the way, but I do what I can. I am going to use a different brush for this, I think. There we go. My side keeps freezing every time I tab it out. It's annoying. I guess I should probably close some of these because they're taking up memory. Okay, there we go. Cyril question. I noticed that in art, Cyril typically wears not slutty clothes, but very tight and revealing. Is that canon? If so, is it intentional? Is he into fashion? I was telling chat earlier because we were talking about how he's always kind of got his lips pursed, and kind of like he's asking for a kiss or something, and I've said, yeah, that's accurate because he's pretty much always flirting with people. So first of all, yeah, I like drawing him with like spray on clothes. I just personally like doing that. But also, yeah, he's very aware of how he looks and he wants to be attractive to people. So, yeah, I don't think, if you asked him like, "Oh, are you interested in fashion?" he would say yes. He does like to dress in a manner that is going to get other people's attention. So, yeah, and it's also just because I like it. The man likes his cling film outfits. He's got them spray on pants. But yes, mostly just because I like it, but then also it's very much in character for him to wear things. Listen, this man does not have any redeeming personality features whatsoever. He knows that if he's gonna make people like him, they've got to like him for something else. So, so he's sticking with the physical attraction as best he can manage. Whoops, wrong brush. Hold on. Not true. He loves his mama. You're so right. You're so right. He does. He does love his mama. I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering, is the archbishop or the clergy aware that their leader of the religion is flashing his chest a lot? Listen, they're when he's wearing his cassock, he's got that little capelet over his tits. Okay. I think if you asked the right people, they'd probably tell you that he's really full of himself and he goes to a lot of trouble to maintain his physique because he knows it impresses people. And they probably have negative opinions of him because of that. But none of that matters when you've got big tits. So I think if you asked Cyril directly, he wouldn't acknowledge that. He would just say that he's athletic because of his job, which is true. But also, we all know there's a difference between functional muscles and like function and form, right? We all know that you do certain things when working out to either make yourself stronger or to actively make yourself look good. And they're not always, they overlap in some ways, but in a lot of ways they don't. And so we can just we can tell Cyril is training for function, but he's also very much training for form. The man really went, I'm not charming, so I better be sexy. Pretty much, pretty much. I'd say if you really, really want to get into like the nitty gritty of it, in terms of Cyril's opinion of like other people, he knows that people are nicer to you and people are more interested in what you have to say and more willing to agree with you and so on and so forth if you are physically attractive. And he knows that. So he's definitely using that as part of it. Because he doesn't, doesn't have the best view of humanity. He's pretty pessimistic. So he knows that sometimes to play the game, you have to be physically attractive. Cyril inspires me to actually start working out. That is wonderful. For your health. Absolutely. Does Bronte do any exercises? She lifts lots of bags of flour. But I think Bronte works on her feet a lot, and she has a very active job. So ironically, she is probably in better shape in terms of functionality for a lot of things, because she is probably able to like lift things, sit, stand, kneel, etc., and has this pretty wide range of motion because it's required for her work. So yeah, she's probably in pretty good shape. I don't think she deliberately does exercises. If anything, I can picture her like doing some stretches or something in the morning. I can picture that being something that she likes doing. But she's definitely not out there like weight training or like running laps or anything the way Cyril is. What's your favorite Victorian or from any point in history slang word? I must know, this is very important. Oh gosh, let's see. When I was researching immolation, I did a lot of research into like different slang and so on. But oh gosh, trying to recall that off the top of my head. Oh boy, let me think. Because I did a lot of research specifically for Maddox, bless his heart, because he has a really foul mouth. Um, do I have a copy of the book within arm's reach? Hold on. I'm wondering if I put anything in the book that I just can't think of off the top of my head. Because I want to say, you know what? I don't know if I actually ended up putting it in the book, because you'll notice one of the things that I did in immolation. I do it in a couple places, but whenever Maddox curses, I say like Maddox curses. Like I don't say like what he's actually saying, and part of that is because it's a fantasy novel. And I don't necessarily. I did do a lot of research into, again, immolation. The region that it takes place in is based off of Scotland. It's loosely inspired by that and kind of like a mishmash of other things. But so because of that, I didn't necessarily want to use Scottish slang, because in some ways, I don't know, I felt like it wasn't really appropriate or fair to just rip that and use it when I'm not telling a Scottish story. And I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking that, but that's just, I don't know. Part of that is why I wasn't really sure if I was going to use it. But yeah, it was something that I definitely researched a lot of. But there was one, I wonder if I can find it, because I bought a book that's literally like a book on Victorian etiquette that talks about like what to and not to say. Like there was a really fun one that was called Church Bell, which is something that's used, and I think I would have to look it up again, but Church Bell was a funny one because it basically means someone who's really talkative, like someone, like you're sitting in mass and this person just won't stop talking, so they're like a church bell. But there's a bunch of good ones though. Church bell, talkative woman. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, that seems to fit the times. But yeah, someone who's really talkative. There were more that I remember looking up that were specifically Scottish, so not necessarily Victorian, but just general Scottish phrases. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say that it's gonna bother me. I have to find a copy of the book. Hold on. I've got so many copies here, but I think they're all packed up. So I still have to sign these and send them out. If you've been waiting for a signed copy of the book, I am so sorry. I have them here. I just haven't made the sales page because I have to be careful because I don't want to get in trouble for like not filing my taxes correctly or something. So I have to be careful about how I go about mailing them out, and I have to keep receipts and all of that. So anyways, I do have those here though. If you're interested in the hardcover signed copies, they are going to happen. It's probably just going to have to be once I move. But I don't want to open those up right now. I think I have a paperback somewhere. Maybe I have one in my book bag. Hold on. Grabby hands at my coffee. Soon. I like Seven Shoals. Seven Shoals is fun, and I love the idea, which we'll get more into this in Volume 2. But I love the idea that, you know, it's like a goody two shoes curse word. It's like the thing that like the nice people say when they're being polite and they're surprised. It's like saying, "Oh my word!" Like their version of that is Seven Shoals instead of just yelling like "fuck." They say Seven Shoals to be like, "Oh my word," because they're uppity and hoity-toity like that. So Levi, bless his heart, is a good little boy. And he doesn't curse. He just says Seven Shoals, which is a reference to the shoals that are outside of the capital city, which I don't know if I'm going to get too much into the capital city in Volume 2, but some super spicy secret lore for you. The Seven Shoals is because there are 7 shallows, which are shoals, outside of the capital city that are considered to be the footsteps of where a certain god walked. And there are 7 remaining footsteps, and they're called the Seven Shoals. So that's what that reference is. It's like their way of saying, like, oh my word. They're referencing the shoals. Okay, I found a copy of the book. Hold on. Because I want to say that there is a scene in the book where Maddox says something to, I believe he says it to Serge, who is the usual person that is the usual person that Maddox is saying snotty things to. But let's see if I can find it. Wait, signed copies of your book. Yes, I have a stock here of however many books I bought. I forget. But I have author copies of the book, so I buy them myself and then sell them to you whenever you're ready. Basically, it's just stock that I keep rather than having to order them directly from like Barnes and Noble or wherever. And these are the hardcover with the dust jacket, which is different from the hardcover that you get on Amazon because they are printed by different companies. Also, if you have purchased the hardcover from Amazon, I apologize if it came to you with a cover that is different from what you were expecting based off of the listing. The hardcover from Amazon does not have a dust jacket. It is a plain black and gold cover. I have been fighting with Amazon for weeks, trying to get it fixed because they are not displaying it properly. I apologize. But anyways. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. What chapter is it? It's pretty late in the book. Why didn't I buy a signed one? Well, I didn't market them. I didn't post them as available for sale yet. I made like a waiting form back when the book launched, and then because of tax reasons, I wasn't sure if I was able to send them or not. So I still have them. They're still available. You can just like send me an email if you want one, and I'll make sure that I've got you on my list. Okay, here we go. Found the chapter. Let's see. Let's see if Maddox says anything here. No, it looks like I censored Matic here too. Surge does respond to Matic. He says butcher's dog, but that's not a particularly intense bit of slang. Yeah, I don't think I have anything too fancy in here. I wanted to keep it relatively approachable, so I didn't use too much slang, but because I know that I had. Oh wait, did I remove that too? Hold on. There's one more place I need to look. Because the only other person the only other person that Matic snaps at with a really bad attitude is Domingo. So let's see if there is a chapter where he says something to Domingo. That's what it was. I think it was Nay user, like Nae user. I think that was the slang that I was gonna have Matic use, but I felt that that was a little bit too not difficult. That's not really quite the right word, but I felt it was gonna be a bit too much and would kind of take away from the rest of the conversation. Yeah, okay, I found it. Yeah, so I did remove the phrase nay user, but basically nay user is like a piece of slang for someone who isn't really good for anything and doesn't like pull their weight. They're not doing a lot of work. Because that's kind of what Matic was insinuating. Which is not necessarily the smartest thing to say to the captain of the guard in your city, but Matic is not necessarily known for his smarts. It's funny, I had a beta reader for Immolation for Volume 1 who specifically people had so many interesting responses to Matic as a character because one of the beta readers said, I could take him or leave him. He doesn't add anything to the story. Whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. He's just Cyril's bestie. Don't disrespect my man like that. But the other person said, like during a little bit of description about Matic, said, oh, I just expected him to be like all muscle, no brains. And I'm like, well, he toes that line. He has some brain, but not enough to keep him from saying stupid shit that he shouldn't say. Anyways, it was fun to see people's reaction to different characters. People were very torn on Cyril. They didn't there wasn't a consensus. Most of the responses I got were, I don't know what to think of him. I'm like, oh, okay, that works. That's pretty accurate. That's how you should feel. Let's see, it is almost 2 o'clock, so I am going to start wrapping it up here pretty soon. Probably give it another 10 minutes or so. Because I am very hungry and also have had no coffee today. And actually, after stream, I have to start working on the sketch that I was working on for last stream, which is the cover for the standalone. Because I need to finish doing some of the detailing and the line work. And then I'm going to be sending it off to my friend for her to render. Because she actually knows how to paint digitally, and no matter how hard I try, my brain does not comprehend how that works. So I'm very excited to have her take a crack at it. I think it'll look very nice. Oh my god, go eat and drink. I will after this. I will get some lunch and probably an afternoon coffee to kind of sustain me for the rest of the day. I'm thinking that's what it's gonna look like. I did have... No, I didn't. I lied. I was gonna say I think I had some leftover of a sandwich, but then I remembered no, I didn't actually have that. I ate that last night. uh, it's fine. I'll eat something in a bit. Go eat. I will after stream. I will figure out something after stream for sure. And I promise I will not just eat like goldfish or something. I'll try to have like a proper meal. Try. I am trying to save money, so we'll see what I've got in the fridge, but I know I don't have very much because I haven't been grocery shopping this week. I'm trying to save money for the move that I hope will happen. I'm not even sure it will, but I hope it will. I keep selecting that brush out of habit. It's not the one I want to use. Oh well. Now I have to do the wispy bits. Ugh. Important question. Do I use my backpack or my totally mature Monster High college Monster High, obviously. It's college. Come on. Okay, I think that is as far as he is getting for today. Even the mood music has changed in the end of stream. Yeah, I like this I like this particular song, so I like using it for my ending music. So I am gonna go ahead and call it a day. Thank you guys so much for coming to stream. I really do appreciate it, and it's always a wonderful highlight of my weekend to have some time, chat, and just have some fun together. So thank you again so much for your support, for your patience as well. I really do appreciate it. Here's hoping housing things will be settled soon and I'll kind of be back into more of a routine. Have a good night. This is great live. Thank you so much. Bye, Rapunzel. See you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time.